Do I have everybody's attention now?
All right, guys, we are back with yet another banging podcast. It's your boy MekelKasanova, Hawaii's favorite YouTuber. Anyway, couple things. It's gonna be kind of a short and sweet podcast because I got a couple things I wanted to go over, and I'm kind of interested in the fact that something that really just caught me by surprise was the fact that Microsoft killed off Microsoft Groove. Now, it's really interesting because to me, I'm like, okay, Microsoft has been slowly killing off different things that they've been working on for years. Like, for instance, their Lumia line. They killed off the Lumia line of phones after acquiring Nokia and kind of, acquiring that from Nokia and just letting it dither. Same thing with, man, it's just the Windows Phone line. I mean, it's just so much stuff that Microsoft, I just feel they're not quite being as consistent with it as I think they should be. It's just one thing after another. And for Groove, I mean, for a while there, I thought Groove was pretty cool. If I'm playing on my Xbox or if I'm on my PC, I can just stream my music through there or just play it. Especially on the Xbox, if you're playing games like Forza, a couple other games too, like Recore and whatnot, you can actually play whatever you have on Microsoft Groove, and it'll just, it'll just go. You can listen to your own custom soundtrack due to that. But for whatever reason, here's yet another service that Microsoft's letting go, and basically, they're giving you, I think it's to the end of the year. I could be wrong. It's a limited amount of time they're giving you to switch over fully to Spotify, because you can play your Microsoft Groove playlist through Spotify now. They basically folded yet again another thing, and a lot of people are like, oh, this isn't looking good for Microsoft. Maybe Microsoft's going to go over. Okay, again, Microsoft makes their money purely off of services. Not hardware, not stuff like Groove, not phones like the Windows Phone line. They make their money off of Office and off of Windows. And at this point now, it's in every corporate entity. You're going to find Windows, preferably Windows 7 Enterprise, and you're going to be running Office. And yes, you can hear the bus that's just chilling right next to the window. Bye, bus. If y'all need to catch the number A, the letter A, bus to the west side to Waipahu, there you go. Anyway, but yeah, Microsoft makes so much money off of services that they really don't. I mean, they've got billions upon billions to blow. So this isn't a sign of the times for Microsoft. They're not going under because they got rid of it. They just, I mean, it's kind of like, LeVar Ball says, stay in your lane. They know their lane is music, so they're bowing out of it. It sucks, especially if you have a Windows Phone still to this day. You're really limited on your options when it comes to streaming and music services. Yeah, some dark days. Now, on to another topic. It seems like FIFA 18 from EA on the 360 is apparently outselling the Nintendo Switch version, which I find that not really surprising. A lot of people, it's another bus, a lot of people find it really surprising that this is happening because they feel that this is also another sign that EA is going to back out of doing video games or their sports titles on the Nintendo platform. That's simply not true. It's only been out for a couple days, and I know here in America, soccer isn't really huge, but in the rest of the world, it's soccer. Soccer heads are kind of disappointed with some of the features that are missing from FIFA 18. Yes, it's running a custom engine specifically tailored for the Switch, but I'm very positive that come next year, FIFA 19 will probably run a lot better. It'll probably be able to have some of the things that are on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Probably not the highest level of graphical fidelity, but it should be able to run the same engine in the same sense that NBA 2K18 for the Switch is able to run the same engine, albeit at a lower frames per second, being locked at 30 versus everything else having 60. Now, one impressive thing I do find that FIFA 18 has been able to do is be able to run at a consistent 60 frames per second docked and undocked. So if you're into football, or soccer as we call it in the United States, then that's definitely something that is really cool, especially when you can play it on the go. Now, there are a lot of people that hate on the Switch. Such people are Weapon Wheel Podcasts, basically all those guys, who are PlayStation elitists and PC elitists, and they kind of look down on it. I watched one of the guys, Mr. Weapon Wheel, one of the videos he's talking about why would you want to get something on an inferior platform. You can play it on a superior console, being a PlayStation 4 or the PC. And I don't quite understand that mentality of superiority and inferiority complexes, because it's gaming. You game how you game. It's option, it's choice. The more we have, the better it all is around. So that type of elitist mentality, I just don't get it. Some people like for me, I'm hardly at home and able to play on the console. So for me to take the Switch with me and play the same kind of game I can docked on the big screen on the go, that's the selling point. But, you know, to each their own. And this is not Shots Fired or Weapon Wheel Podcast. It's just something I find interesting, the mentality that they have over there on that platform. Anyway, getting on to some other news. Apparently Nioh is, or Nioh, however you want to say it. I like saying Nioh. It sounds cooler, but it's actually Nioh. Is coming to the PC, and it's the complete edition. So that's going to give you all the DLC. It's going to be able to run at 4K in cinematic mode, or if you want to have the action, well, I believe the action mode runs at lower resolution, but it locks 60 frames per second. So that's pretty cool that it's coming to the PC. However, a lot of people have been voicing that they are not happy with the fact that Nioh, the complete edition for PC, is going to be running, what the install, or basically the entirety of the game, is 100 gigabytes. And even I'm kind of surprised at that. I'm like, 100 gigs? So it's really coming to the, you know, and this, I'm going to circle this back around to the Nintendo Switch. Yes, people, I love the Nintendo Switch. I'm a Nintendo fanboy. Well, Nintendo fan. I almost said fanboy. I'm a gaming fanboy because I like gaming despite the platform. But it's kind of funny how people rag on Nintendo for only having 32 gigs of storage, saying you can barely store any games on it. But when we have games taking up 100 gigs, and it's probably more likely due to the 4K assets of Nioh Complete Edition, but when you have games taking up 100 gigs or more, that's just going to show you that even if you've got a terabyte drive, that's still not enough. Even on my PS4 Pro, I have a 1 terabyte hard drive on it, and it's kind of funny that I've already filled it up, you know, and I've only got probably about 6 or 8 games, and they are taking up a lot of space, and that's not including the OS updates or just about any of the other stuff. It's just really surprising. But yeah, a lot of people, they just are not feeling that storage being taken up like that, and I don't blame them. I kind of think that gaming is definitely at this rate, with the bigger storage rates that these games are coming at, it's gonna quickly become a more expensive hobby. I mean, because through and through, gaming, it's a hobby, and a lot of people forget that. I mean, it's a hobby that can pay, but it's still a hobby nonetheless. But for a lot of people, it's going to become a lot more expensive, especially when you're going to have to either buy more internal storage, or you're going to have to pay for an external hard drive. And I mean, some are dropping in price. Best Buy has a special right now. You can get a 4 terabyte for $69.99 as of this podcast, which is October 2nd. Other than that, Yeah, typically 4 terabytes or more externally is going to cost you about over 100. So it's definitely going to become a much more expensive hobby. And if you're one of those people who doesn't feel that, you feel the price of gaming is too expensive, you probably should find another hobby at that point then. And on to the last bit of news I'm going to be covering, and it's the Nintendo scalpers are catching Ls. They're catching them Ls in a big way. So basically, Reggie Fils-Aimé said to, he didn't really say it in these exact words, but you can guess by the implications he had. It was a big FU to scalpers that are going out and buying all these SNES classics and selling them on Craigslist and Facebook groups for anywhere from 150. I've seen as low as 150 all the way up to $220, $300, $400, $500, all the way up to the most expensive one I've seen is $5,000. And there's a lot of people that are trying to make a quick buck off the fact that there's not a lot of, well, not even so much as there's not a lot of stock. Nintendo definitely done better with this SNES Classic than they did with the NES Classic, which is probably why they're bringing it back. But it's just going to show that these scalpers are really going to any extent to make a quick buck. And I know a lot of people that have no qualms with flipping a product. They'll buy it and sell it at an exorbitant amount just to make a buck off of someone else's misfortune. And for me, truthfully speaking, I find for myself a lot of issues with that, on a moral standing. I think it's wrong when you're trying to take advantage of someone else to make a profit off of them. Yeah, it falls into the whole, supply and demand aspect of things, but I don't know. I find a lot of issues with that morally. I just don't think it's right that people will go to those extents, especially these guys who buy up like 10, 15 of them, then take selfies and smiling. They look like such pricks, to be honest. But Reggie has gone on record to say, do not buy your SNES Classic or even your Nintendo Switch from scalpers, because we're going to make sure there's more. And you know what? The Reginator, I got confidence in that. But I'm not one who is lacking in that area in the sense of I have the NES Classic, the SNES Classic. I actually got 2 SNES Classics. One for myself, one for my wife, and a third one that just came in that I'm going to be giving away on my YouTube channel. So if you guys are interested, you can enter the Glean link below and be entered for the opportunity to win an SNES Classic. The drawing's going to be end of the month, so you got plenty of time to enter the contest. But yeah, for the people that's out there looking to either get a Switch or SNES Classic, just wait, be patient. They're going to be more coming in. You're going to be able to play the games, maybe not right away, but eventually you will be able to. And what I've noticed, especially with the SNES Classic, there's 2 types of people right now. There are those who feel that, one, when they were able to go in with no hassle, get an SNES Classic, walk out, and they're happy. It's accessories that they want to get included. And then there are those who were not able to go in and get one, and their feelings right now are fuck Nintendo, and this quote unquote artificial shortage, which there isn't, but people have to justify things that happen. A lot of people like to play victim and feel that someone has wronged them, and it's easier to blame someone else than it is to just say, hey, you know what? It wasn't happening today. There's always tomorrow. But it's just a different perspective that I have on things versus, what the traditional masses do. And the last thing I want to talk about on this podcast is the unfortunate events that have been going on in Las Vegas. It's really a tragedy that so many people lost their lives, and so many people were injured I believe over 500 people were injured, over 30 or 50 were killed, and it's a shame that someone takes it upon themselves to just go and hurt someone else or end a person's life. It's a tragedy, and you know, it's one of those things that, you know, as Americans, we just need to realize that there are some things that we need to be able to come together on, and supporting those who lost, you know, the families of the victims. If we can all come together in some way, form, or fashion, and just try and help out, try and do what we can, because this is something, and not just something that affects those of us that were there, or those of us that were family members, or the people that were there. You know, as a country, as a people, as a nation, as Americans, this is something that affects all of us. And, you know, my heart goes out to the people, the victims that lost their lives, and the people that are injured, and the families of the victims. And I'm personally going to be looking into this more, if there's some type of donations that are available to help aid the people that were hurt in recovery, you know, for medical bills or whatever. I'm definitely going to be someone who wants to help out with that, because this is heartbreaking how this all went down. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to end this podcast on that. So thank you guys for listening. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just look up MekelKasanova, Kasanova with a K. You can follow me on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/MekelKasanova, also with a K. You can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/MekelKasanova. I'm also on Instagram.com/MekelKasanova. And on Snapchat as well, but I'm not really active on Snapchat. I'm probably going to get rid of that. But yes, you can also find me on Facebook. If you look up MekelKasanova, I have a fan page, and you can definitely go and check it out. You'll get a lot of reposts from the other medias I have, so Instagram and Twitter will usually repost there. But going through a whole revamping process. So thank you guys for listening to this podcast. I know it's sweet. Well, not sweet. Short and sweet. It's right under 20 minutes. And thank you again. I catch y'all in the next one. Deuces wild.